Welcome back to a Sitdown with Skriv episode 2, baby. Let's go! Today's guest is Lena Brinter. She's a commentator and host working out of Mexico in the Latin American region, right? Casting in Spanish. And we break into some of that. Her interest of moving into the English language casting, working across different titles. She primarily works in Counter-Strike, but a bit of work more recently in Free Fire, an up-and-coming mobile game. We get some opinions on the mobile scene, whether it's going to grow and whatnot, and how she navigates through the different roles, the different hats, and working within that Latin American esports scene. I had a lot of fun on this one. Immediately feel, a lot more into the groove with the questions and whatnot, and getting there with it. Maybe giving some of my own opinions on this one as well, seeing as how I'm also a caster, so I sort of jumped in some areas. Let me know how you feel about that. I know some people quite liked in the first episode that I didn't say as much. I just asked the questions and let Pronogo go off. I definitely have a bit more interaction in this one, so let me know what you think about that. But ultimately, getting these rolling, getting these going. It is Christmas time at the moment as I'm working on this and uploading this, so probably going to be a bit of a break, partly due to myself, but also other people are quite busy and getting a hold of them for interviews and whatnot. But into the new year, I'm going to be smashing it. Perhaps I'll record some other content while there's no one around to come on the show, with everyone being so busy. You'll have to sub to make sure that you're keeping track of all the new stuff that I got coming out. I am going to try and, like I say, make some funny content, probably around esports, probably around CS, but there might be a little bit of variation there. Either way, drop a comment. Let me know what you're thinking about this one. Slightly different vibe. The questions, I feel, are more succinct from myself, but at the same time, I do interact a little bit more. Maybe that's not something that people want to see. They just want the guest to go on their own, essentially, off the back of my open-ended questions. Let me know. Either way, as a wise man once said, roll the interview. Straight out the gate, I want to get into just a brief history of how you got into esports and also kind of why you got into esports. Obviously a caster, right? So maybe why you chose to move into that sort of role.
Right. Well, first of all, I think my whole life I have been loving games overall. So I remember that I started watching Call of Duty, of course the competitive scene, and it was really interesting for me. And I really liked that game. And then I just kind of switched to CS. So I started more gaming, and that's it. I didn't really thought about, you know, working in esports in general. I guess back then, even here in Latin America, it's not big enough yet. But yeah, basically, I just started gaming a lot, and then it came this weird opportunity because I was literally the only woman in Mexico who was gaming or well playing CS, So eventually people knew about me. So they went "Hey, would you like to try to cast to some games?" So it really started just like that. Just an option to have fun with friends who were running some tourneys, the small ones in Mexico. And so that's it. Basically that's how it started. As I say, I wasn't really thinking about working on it. So I guess it just came like that. I don't know.
Yeah, fairly organic beginnings, I suppose, which is
Yeah, basically. Just
yeah.
because I love it, the game.
right. And I mean that's certainly something that, especially when casting, I know you do some hosting stuff as well, which I guess can be slightly different. But when casting, I think for the energy and whatnot, the passion definitely has to shine through for sure. So I suppose you get started on this journey, and now at the point that we're at in 2020, obviously it's a little awkward given the world situation. But what kind of goals do you have from here? What do you want to do with the casting? I know you've expressed to me a little bit about wanting to move into English language and whatnot. Is there anything that maybe you want to expand into beyond casting? I don't know, like a coaching role, right? Some analyst types like to move into that kind of thing. So what sort of aspirations do you have from where you're at the moment?
Well, right now I'm actually doing some side works, just being a host from some events, and also for a TV company here in Mexico. So I'm like kind of I don't know. I guess let me just try to think about like my right choice of words.
Mm.
But well, basically, I love to be a caster. As in general, I have been like getting some offers to just cast more games because people actually like my job, or at least the way I do it. So I guess I really would like to try more games to cast like different types of games, but at least shooters. I don't like other kind of games like League of Legends, for example. I think I don't see myself casting that, but in general, like Gears of War, Call of Duty, Free Fire, as I mentioned to you, I would like to expand myself to that, and also I would like to at least practice my casting in English because I got offer for this gamer girl festival thing. I got contact, like I don't know how, but yeah, they literally sent me a DM on Twitter and were like, "Hey, would you like to cast this CS tourney for girls?" Blah blah, blah. So they asked me for a reel of my job, of course, in English. So
Mm.
I didn't have one, and I was like, "Damn, that was a good opportunity, of course." So I guess more in the future, I really want to get like into more internationally seen and just cast in English, like basically. But I will like that because I really love being a caster and also the being an analyst. It's I don't know, I really enjoy that. So I see myself at least trying to do the same in a few years.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of hard. I think some of the people that I've had on, have talked about like sustainability and whatnot, and I suppose the English scene or the English language scene at the very least gets a lot more attention. Is it safe to say? Or I mean, some of the mobile games for me, I don't know if that's quick for me to jump to that conclusion because you mentioned Free Fire, which for people that don't know is like a battle royale mobile game, right? And
Yeah.
it's really taken off. I think it won Esports Game of the Year at the Esports Awards as well in 2020. So maybe there's a lot to come from that as well. Is something like multi-game casting, can it be difficult? I suppose you said you've moved a bit more towards like a hosting role, which does hand itself to moving across to different facets. But do you find it a challenge to work on multiple different titles, like week to week almost?
hmm Oh, well, definitely. It will be kind of difficult and even more because I try to do my best, let's say, right? I guess as a woman, you get like more well, kind of shit from people.
Mm.
So I try to do the work that I know. Like I have been offering to just cast and like one day before people contact me and say, "Hey, would you like to cast some Rainbow Six games?" And I don't want to do that because if I don't know about the game, like I really want to do a good job. That's why I need to know about the game. I need to well, yeah, just know in general about the game. So that's why I don't do that kind of things and I prefer to prepare myself, like learning about well, yes, just more. So even though I say yeah, I would like to work in more games in general, like I think basic ones like well, at least CS I have covered, right? Like I love that game, so that's fine. So I'm trying just to keep learning about Free Fire and I don't know, maybe just as I say, Call of Duty or of Gears, but yeah, it will be kind of hard. So I don't know. I just at least try to set myself that kind of goal in the future, even though if it's kind of hard. But I don't know. I think it's of course not impossible, but I would try to at least prepare myself like really well to can do that kind of job, of course.
Yeah, I think creating a good product and being kind of proud of what you do, right? Obviously, you and I share a little bit of a similar role in a sense, right? So I can kind of speak to it, and I think like your work as a caster is really important to the message that you send, and I think any kind of walk of life, right? The work that you do, you have to be proud of, and to be proud of it, you have to work hard at it, and that can be difficult, and doing different games, it's in the sense that you could be a painter and a top class painter, and then it's very difficult to be like a best-selling author at the same time. And I think particularly when it comes to casting, when it comes to knowing the game, knowing the nuances of it, the pacing from something like Counter-Strike to Rainbow Six is very, very different. You have to know how to control that and whatnot. So I think it's quite a good mindset of making sure that you don't just take everything that's possible. And I suppose that comes back to, in a sense, like you mentioned, a desire to cast in English, but you need to make sure that you're at a good level to do so, if that makes, or like a comfortable level with yourself, in order to accept work.
Because I want to know what I'm talking about, like, basically.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that I did want to angle towards here, and one of the things that I did want to talk about, as someone who, as I mentioned to you a little bit earlier, I think I'm not afraid to admit, even on the recorded session, my social media game's a little bit weak, right? And you have quite a strong social media presence. I just very, very quickly, like some brief ways in which that can affect your work, helps your work, and maybe how you can grow that social media presence for like people starting out, like a little bit of advice, because I think it's something, content and brand and all that kind of stuff is very difficult for some new casters anyway, to build up from the ground, so to speak.
Well, I think something that really helped me, as I mentioned to you before or earlier, I think, well, being kind of the only girl in Latin America, because in general, I got called, to cast some games from Argentina or, yeah, Colombia, for example. But I guess that gave me that visibility, let's say, because it was like, oh, there is just like this girl, and she plays, and also she casts this game. So I guess that's how I actually started, because people knew that I was good, because I really liked the game. Um, so I guess I got that kind of advantage, I will say, just because I was, I guess, a girl, and also, well, like the only one. Um, so yeah, that helped me a lot. But basically, I think what really gave me the boost on my social media was basically Free Fire. That game has a, well, it has a huge community, like in all Latin America. So I guess that, well, that's how people knew about me, basically. And, well, because I knew about the game too, and shooters, battle royale in general. So I don't know what kind of advice I will say, because I will say I got like kind of lucky for that. But yeah, I mean, as I say, I knew what I was talking about. I mean, since I started on CS, and then when I switched to Free Fire, so my work, like doing a good job, that's what really gave me the opportunities. I'm not saying just because, oh yes, it's a girl and she knows, but yeah, it's just like my knowledge, I will say, because I really worked hard. Like, it's been 5 years since I started like casting CS, and literally I will say, like, this year it's the first one I'm living out of, video games and casting and hosting. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't that easy also.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenge, as we mentioned, right? But that hard work, it's as simple as, working hard pays off, right? I suppose with you having like an ear to the ground when it comes to the mobile games, they're in conversation quite a lot at the moment, I suppose. Like I say, one esports game of the year this year, and a lot of people, there's always the two sides where it's super popular, the viewership's really good, the player base is really high, right, and all that kind of stuff. And then you have the other side of the argument where some people say mobile esports don't feel as legitimate as your PC and console counterparts. I think it'd be interesting to kind of get your opinion, having worked on CS, one of the biggest games, one of the biggest esports on PC, versus, I suppose, a counterpart on the other side of things, right, in the form of Free Fire on that mobile platform. So what do you think when it comes to mobile esports? Is it viable? Is it fun to watch? Is it fun to cast, right? And maybe a few comparisons and differences you could draw to CS for us.
Well, first of all, I think I need to recognize that at the beginning, I was like, oh, this mobile game, it doesn't seem like really cool, because of course it's a mobile game. Of course it has bugs and, stuff like that, like kind of weird in game. But once I started like working on it, I guess it really amazed me the fact that it's just available for everyone. Like I guess that's why it's huge. Like at least the comparison that I always mention with CS is that of course for CS you need to get a good PC. Like there is no way you can play with 30 FPS, right? So it gets harder. And so you need to invest more in a PC and in general. So the comparison that I will at least try to make about Free Fire is that, or mobile games in general, is how this accessibility for everyone, and at least in Latin America, like not most of the people can afford, a good PC, a good console. So that's why for me, it's what makes really special mobile games, because they are for everyone. Like literally, my nephew, he's 6 years old, and he was like losing his mind when he found out that I was working for Free Fire, and all the stuff that I got. So that really made me happy. Like just to think, wow, like this game actually makes happy to a lot of people. So that's I don't know if I made my point like properly. Did I say it right?
Yeah. I
So
think you're getting there for sure. Yeah.
yeah, so basically it's that like that's that accessibility that it has for everyone, because it's in a mobile, like that's it. Basically, and it's actually fun to watch, and it's really intense, because I try to game. Like once I started working on Free Fire, like I downloaded the game and I try to play, and I'm blind. Like there is no way I can see like a person just running across the map. And that's why, and it's hard to shoot, to put the wall that you put the cover. So yeah, it's pretty hard. So I guess not everyone can really, let's say, value like the for the yeah, that's the word, right? Effort. I'm sorry, I just got confused. But yeah, like basically that's my point between these two games, and why it's at least huge in Latin America in comparison with CS, that it's just for the PC.
Yeah. No, I mean, it
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense, right? Like that accessibility. Pretty much everybody these days has a smartphone, right? And I think like maybe that's fairly assumptive, not everybody, but you know what I mean. Like the importance and the value and whatnot of having a smartphone is much higher than having like even just a decent gaming PC, right?
Mhm.
I guess so that definitely is like a big thing, and I think where a lot of it comes from, and it's much more accessible as well, in the sense that if I watch CS but I am a console player even, right, and I don't much
Mhm.
want to get into super competitive games, I don't want to buy a PC just for one game, the mobile fills that kind of you well, I suppose it's like multifunctional, right? And gaming is one side of it, and you watch the mobile esport, and then you download the game, and then you're in the game relatively quickly. There's a much shorter bridge, I suppose, going from viewer to player, and I feel as well they're obviously getting a lot of attention, a lot of push from the industry in general, but devs as well. It looks like where, you know, CS is certainly one that Valve are, I think, taking steps in the right direction, but still work has to be done to, you know, get players into viewers, if that makes sense. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's certainly an interesting one. It's definitely one to watch. I feel what PUBG Mobile was the big one, right? That came out initially, and I suppose Arena of Valor as well was pretty big before it. There's a good number of mobile games that people have watched over time, but I think we're really starting to get into some serious territory as to how this is super viable, because that's kind of what a lot of esports is about at the moment, I guess, is like the sustainability and profitability and initial buy-ins as well and all that kind of stuff. It's a rough time. I think COVID's really brought it to the forefront. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. I don't do a lot of time. Is that not a thing? I can't remember. But
I don't know.
yeah, I'm not sure. But look, I think the mobile esports angle is really interesting, and it is quite good to get your thoughts on how it differs and you know why it is so effective. So I suppose to move on to the next section of what I wanted to talk about. We have touched on some of your goals, touched on working across multiple different games, casting in English, social media presence, and whatnot. I kind of wanted to take an angle of perhaps some of the areas that you have worked on within esports. That I think you briefly mentioned that you have done some things on television. Is that esports related, or is it just
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Esports related. Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of an interesting one. How does it differ from working on I suppose more of a bedroom cast, as you know I'm doing an awful lot of at the moment, versus working in more of like a TV environment that maybe can be a little more strenuous, a little more technical, as it were.
Well, it was really scary for me because at the beginning, this project because this TV company is huge in Mexico, right? Like it's one
Mm.
of the biggest television companies here. So they just literally started into the esports like this year, around March, something like that. So at the beginning, they just offered me, to do streams on their channel, like basically on Twitch. They made one. So I started like gaming CS and giving like some advices and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how I started. I was just like, oh well, I'm here and that's cool. But then they made like a gaming house here, um, where of course there's like this studio where they record all these kind of shows, of course, related to games, of course. So yeah, once I went there and they offered me the job, I was so nervous because, well, I mean, these cameras around and the lights, and also I guess it was weird for me because they gave you like this script that of course you need to read, right? And then I don't know how it's called, like in English. I guess it's just the prompter, like that's the word, for when you
Um,
can read what you need to say, like just right next to the camera.
yeah, like a teleprompter. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
all
think
right.
it's what you're getting at. There's like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
run of show as well that it could be, but I think that's slightly different because it has all like tech stuff in it, not just
Yeah, text. Yeah, yeah,
script.
just basically the things that you need to say.
Mm.
So it was a challenge because I mean, I have been streaming for quite a while, but I I was considering myself as a shy person, right? So at the beginning it was so hard, and also you have like just a person talking to you on your ear, so for this earphone, and you're like, what? So
Mm.
it was kind of confusing, but it's huge because I'm literally in the beginning of this uh well, just yeah, that's the word, right? Like the beginning of this project, let's say, with the TV people. So seems like it's going to be huge, and I'm pretty happy for that because at least, as I say, in Mexico we didn't have that kind of stuff before. Like at least in Latin America in general, but in Mexico, like we literally started like doing things on TV for esports, of course. So yeah, it was just kind of weird, as I say, but it's really cool. I guess it's amazing, like that vibe that you get when you are in front of a camera and then you need to just talk about esports. Like it's a dream, honestly.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, it sounds like you're involved in relatively, big projects, right? The mobile gaming stuff. TV is very much a next step and a goal and everything for esports, and I think people, particularly camera talent, right, that works within it, and proving and pitching and getting the support of can be very, very difficult. The BBC over here, right, it's all they have, said and done a few things in the past. I don't want to get into it too much, but it can be very, very difficult, I think, to prove to television. Obviously, within CS, we had a great run with E-League and whatnot initially, and it is kind of a shame to see that go. I suppose working on TV, like you say, relatively hard and a little scary and whatnot. Is that something that you see yourself doing for a long time, right? You want to stick with this project and sort of be more of a presenter type, or is the casting something that you think you're going to stick with for as long as you can?
At least for now, it's work that I have to do, right? Like I don't really enjoy being like a hosting type, but well, I guess it's kind of fun, just for certain things, of course.
Mm.
But I mean, I will love to just do both, because if that give me just the work that I need, of course, to pay my bills, I guess that will be basically enough for me. Like I, of course, prefer like casting because I feel more comfortable when I do that, because I can get really nervous, but once I'm like watching the game and I need to talk about it, like it just flows everything. So of course I feel more like in my comfort zone, like being a caster, but I love to challenge myself and host shows and do more things. Of course, give me like that kind of motivation of to keep pushing myself to do better. So I guess if I do a better job tomorrow, so I will get more chances to get even more opportunities, of course, to work in different things in the future. So
Mm.
yes, I would like to stick with both as much as I can.
Fair enough. You've mentioned like nerves and shyness and whatnot quite a bit. How do you overcome things like that, right? I don't mean to, but I totally am going to blow my own trumpet in the sense that I've done a lot of acting since I was quite young, so like nerves and things don't affect me as much. I think especially when I'm, doing new opportunities and things like that. But I'm just wondering, I think it's interesting to know because I think on the show I'm going to have a fair amount of camera talent and stuff like that. I think it's just interesting to know how it is that you deal with nerves, deal with jumping into uncomfortable situations in a work sense.
Well, honestly, I don't know how, but because it's been 5 years since I do this. Um, but I guess, of course, it depends, right? I remember that it was 2 years ago, if I remember well. No, a year. Yeah, last year actually. It was this huge event from Logitech, the Jollytech G Challenge. I my tongue. I'm sorry. So yeah, so it was this huge LAN event, and they came some teams from Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico, of course. So they came to play, of course. Yeah. So I had to cast, and it was in front of these I mean, this crown, right? So I don't know how did I manage that, because I wasn't really thinking about how huge it was going to be. So once I just came to the stage and I tried to just sit and watch the monitor. I was losing my mind. I all the time when I get these nerves, I get like stomach ache. Like it happens to me all the time. But well, at least as I say, once I try to focus in the game and what I'm watching, I kind of forget about everything.
Mm.
But in general, when I need to just speak of, make time when it's this halftime or after game or something,
Yep.
sometimes I catch myself just saying nonsense because it's just weird. Like I don't know about what I really need to say, and I get a bit confused and lost, but just because I'm nervous, like basically. So far, I haven't really tried to do something to calm myself, and I try to breathe, like normal, like in and out. But so far, I mean, I would like to get an advice of what to do, because yeah, sometimes I just say something really stupid. Oh, also in this Free Fire transmission that I have been working, just really quick. Um, I have been saying, I mean, I don't know how to explain it to you, because, of course, in Spanish, it has like a different, sense.
Mm.
So I wouldn't say exactly what, but sometimes I just say things that it doesn't make sense, and everyone just laugh. Of course, it's not like bad. I make fun of myself, of course. Oh, I remember last time I say, yeah, because the MVP it gets just for the MVP, of course, right? So yeah, that kind of stuff it happens to me a lot, and so far after all this time, I really don't know how to deal with it, but but yeah, it's kind of funny just to think.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know how.
definitely resonate with the feeling. I think is like after the game and whatnot. Before you throw to a break, I definitely resonate with like just rambling. When there's like a tech pause or whatever, they're generally
Yeah.
the worst. So I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one. It's kind of difficult, especially when you have so much going on. And I mean, I'm doing it right now. You know what I mean? While I'm racking my brain to go for another question and try and find a bit more. So, okay. So look, we've talked about your desires to cast in English. I think that's something that maybe I want to expand a little bit more
Mhm.
on. Do you have like a plan for that? Are there any organizers maybe that you could work with, that you want to work with? Like could in the sense that they, maybe you cover some stuff for them in Spanish, if that makes sense. Like what are some of the aspirations in terms of like actually achieving the English casting?
Well, fortunately, I have well, a lot of friends who cast, of course, in English, and most of them are from England, actually. So yeah, they always offer me like, hey, if you like to cast, like, just come to my stream, and they have like, well, pretty good viewers. So I did it once, but it was more like a 10-man kind of casting game. So it wasn't really a huge one, but I got like the offers. So my friends who actually cast, they just try to help me, and they say, whenever you want, you just come here and we can just make it work. So at least I guess I have that advantage that I know people who can help me. So I just really want to do that, because every time I say yes, invite me. So I'm kind of afraid, to just do something that it's, well, not right. I like, even now when I'm trying to speak and it's just a normal conversation, I get like, oh my god, what's the next word that I need to say, right? So it's almost the same with casting, because, well, with at least when I cast in Spanish, of course you need to kind of have or keep some kind of rhythm, right? So I feel that I need to speak like super fast, So in English, I don't know if I will be able to do that. So that's basically what I need to do. Like really go with my friends and just let them know like, yes, I'm here. Let's do this. But I guess I have been kind of well, I don't know that word, but yeah, like I didn't make myself some time so far to do
Mm,
that, but I really want to just try. And also because I got also months ago an offer for, I don't remember the name of this organization, but it was from UK. They have like esports team, and they offer me to be a caster for them for this team for his ESEA games.
mm, mm.
So we were like in talks about it, but we never really got something clear. But yeah, I guess I just need to try to practice with my friends, so at least I feel good that I will have people who's going to support me, in that path, and just try to make me improve my English, of course, and my casting overall.
Fair. I mean, I think you're all good. I know maybe like 10 words in Spanish, so like you're doing a lot better than I am. And it doesn't go much further than like hello, my name is. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I don't think you have too much to worry about. The practice definitely is the main element. And you talk about speaking quickly. I suppose I have like heard a little bit, and obviously I suppose like Spanish football commentators are quite renowned for their like speed and energy and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes struggle in English to talk at that kind of high speed as well when there's action going down. So it's certainly interesting though. But I think it is like a really cool angle, and could definitely, we're talking about the future with like TV and mobile games and all that kind of stuff. It's certainly something that maybe a multifaceted commentator, like speaking to some of the players and whatnot and all that as well, right? Like is definitely an angle that would be really interesting to have the insight of. I suppose the final question for this portion of the interview before we get into the 10 questions at the end. I was just kind of curious as to how perhaps like some of the strengths that you feel that you have in life in general have helped you in your work, and then perhaps some of the weaknesses. I mean, you don't have to get into that too much, because I don't want to turn it into like a therapy session or whatever. But I was just curious as to like how some of the things that you feel you're effective at, because obviously like you've commented on your knowledge and your tenacity, I suppose, like the hard work that you put in. Are these kind of things that you feel have really, really helped boost your ability as a caster host, and also the opportunities that you've got in those roles?
Oof, well, I think that the most important thing, at least in my strength, that I will say is that I'm really passionate, like in everything, that I do. Even in my life, I'm that kind of friend that you are, like you just meet, and then I'm like, oh, okay, you, and I hug people, and that kind of enthusiasm, right? So yeah, that's basically one of the things that I think that it put me or gave me certain motivation to keep just trying to, well, do my job. So that I'm really, well, I have all this passion for esports in general. Like I really love the vibe that it gave me. And well, I guess that security that it kind of gave me, because I was actually talking with some friends about it. That I feel that when I'm casting or when I'm hosting or we're just working, right, in doing a show or whatever, like I feel that I'm not like a different person. Like I feel more secure about myself. I don't know if some kind of alter ego that I that I just got, but yeah, I feel good. I feel that I can do everything. Like I feel that kind of boost. So so yeah, I guess that's why it makes me do like a better job. And also with the TV people, the director and the producers, they are always like, oh my god, you do like a great job, do everything that we put like to do like on the lines or whatever. You just learn like super fast, and you do it like really well, like we don't have to repeat every single cut, it's the word. Yeah, right, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So every time with that we record something, like I do it like really fast, so they were like, oh no, you can do it super fast, like, so we are not worried that we are going to take like longer with you because you do a really good job. So I guess that really gives me the motivation, and that's it. Like I feel like a completely different person and when I'm working. So I guess that's what actually people see on me when I'm working, when I'm actually doing my job. And on the other hand, I guess part of my weakness is it's about the nerves, I guess. Like I feel like sometimes I could just do better, at least try to make up my mind and go straight away for what I'm talking in or what I want to say, instead of just, as you say, like rambling, in my head and and get like a really confused. But yeah, I guess that's the thing. I don't know about more weakness that I could say, but definitely like the nerves are killing me sometimes.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like the overthinking, I have it like everywhere in life. One seen message and unreplied, I'm just done for the week. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. I'm the same. That's why.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I think that'll do us for this portion. I really want to thank you for coming on. This is obviously the longer form. Just bouncing off some questions. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of insight on the mobile esports, TV, the Latin American scene, and how I suppose you grew in it. So thank you very much for coming on. So now we move on to the second portion of the interview where I ask all my guests the same 10 questions. Of course, just paying homage with this to James Lipton, who was the host of Inside the Actors Studio. Not entirely my idea, but certainly interesting to get some insight on the same questions from different guests and whatnot. So I hope you're ready, Lena.
Yes, let's go for it.
All right, brilliant. So first question, what is your favorite word?
Can't.
I knew that
I
was
really
coming.
love that word.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I just like the sound, okay? I just need to clarify that. I guess it sounds like funny, and also like it's a strong word, so I like to say that. Like can't, but of course I will like to do it better with a British accent, but I will work on it for the next time.
Yeah, we throw it around a fair amount. I'm glad I have a thing with, obviously a fair few American colleagues and whatnot, and they do terrible British accents. I'm not a big fan. Okay, so moving on to the next question. What is your least favorite word?
Oh, geez. I don't know what to think really fast, but
it could be, if you want, you could say like in Spanish and then just sort of translate it for us.
All right.
If that helps.
Yeah, it makes sense. I guess my least favorite word, it could be. No, I literally didn't have an idea. I never thought about it. It's a really interesting question because I don't know. Can I say I don't know? That's a good answer.
I suppose maybe can't or something, in there like that. That could work. Question number three. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Well, definitely I like people. Well, I mean, just talking about people, I don't know what I thought about it, but came to me. I love like the people who has like the same vibe like me. Like they're highly energized and kind of happy kind of things. So I guess that really gives me motivation. Like I used to also like kind of write things, like poetry and stuff. So I like that. Like really, I get like inspiring people. So I guess that's really good for me.
Fair enough.
Happy people.
Yeah, I get you. What turns you off in that sense?
I guess people who doesn't have like the same vibe, you know, like
Makes
it's like
sense.
when you have, I don't know, when you say, "Oh, hello, good morning," or something, and people is just like, "Hi," or whatever.
Mm,
Like that really makes me sad, and that's in everything, you know. Like even if I go to the store and I say, "Hey, good morning," and people is like, "What do you want?" So yeah, that
mm,
really makes me feel kind of sad.
Like the lack of energy, I suppose. I think I already
Yeah.
know the answer to this next question. Um, maybe I suppose you could give it to us in Spanish. But what is your favorite curse word?
Oh, well, I will say ballant. I really like. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. But when I was living in England, like I
Yeah.
learned like this kind of words. So I was like just saying like all the time this
Mm.
kind of words. So, but that one in particular, I think it sounds like yeah, ballant.
It's quite. I was gonna
Yeah.
say. I'm pretty sure I recognize that. That's definitely English. Yeah. So they. I suppose the English influence. Cunt and bellend are pretty common. For sure.
Yeah.
So it's definitely rubbed off. Number 6. What sound or noise do you love?
I love like that kind of morning sound. I don't know if you get like the idea, you know, like with the birds and
Mm.
that kind of morning feeling also. And well, I mean it kind of gets the same with the uh well, yeah, noise about that. And also the rain. Rainy nights, for example, are the best thing for me. Definitely. I love that.
Fair enough. What sound or noise do you hate?
Oof. I guess I really hate the ambulance sound. It really makes me feel like uncomfortable.
Hmm.
So I will say that.
That's completely fair. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oof. Do you know what? I would like to run a coffee shop.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that. I love that kind of vibe. So, yeah, maybe someday. I don't know, after esports, but I would like that.
Yeah. I think that's kind of it, isn't it? Um, the version that I've heard a few times is like, run your career, live your life, and then buy a bar. But I suppose the coffee shop is like the more millennial version of that. Um,
Yeah.
what profession would you not like to do?
Oh, I guess being a doctor. Like it
Interesting.
really makes me feel kind of sad. And also, if I see blood, I kind of faint. Like I haven't do it like so far, but I get dizzy. You know, if
Hmm.
I see even my own blood, I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to. I don't know, but yeah, I guess I couldn't be a doctor. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, definitely not. Wouldn't be able to see straight after a day on the ward, honestly. So the final question: if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say at the pearly gates?
Wow, that's a good question.
Hmm.
Um, I will say, well done. I would like God to say to me, well done. You know, like yeah, because I guess that's what I would really like to do with my life. You know, just take a good path, being nice, and just help people also as much as I can. So just living a good life, you know. So I
Hmm.
guess I hope to get that kind of words. Well done.
It's really interesting actually because if you watch and I did ask before, right, like have you seen the show and everything where it's from, and if you watch some of the interviews when James Lipton asks these questions, that's quite a common one on
Yeah.
well done for the final question is quite a common one. So yeah, it's
That's what we want to hear, I guess.
yeah.
Imagine God saying, "Oh well, uh, unlucky, unluco maluco," or something like that. Imagine it. Like, no, 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 I wouldn't like that.
Yeah. No, it's definitely interesting. All right, well, that's gonna do it. Absolute pleasure having you on. Hell of a lot of fun. Really insightful, and I hope you've enjoyed your time as well. Really, really appreciate you coming on, Lena.
Yeah, I really got fun, and also, I mean, had fun. Not well, you understand me. That's why I was trying to make my point clear, but But yeah, thank you so much for the invite, and also it was fun for me because I have to practice my English, as you can see, and everyone will will notice. So thank you so much.
And that's that. Episode 2 out of the way. A little shorter, but fun nonetheless. Always enjoy working on these. The first couple, I can see improvements already, so I'm so excited to get into some more in the new year. Hopefully, maybe a little bit sooner, but we'll see. Either way, that was Lena's first interview, so be sure to show some support. I've got all the links down below, of course, takes you to all her socials. Please check them out. She was a really good sport. Took us a little bit of time to get this interview going. Both very, very busy and clashes and whatnot, but we finally got there. Really happy with how it turned out, and definitely a guest that I might look to have on in the future. Maybe if she does make that transition, into the English casting and whatnot, could be cool to get her back and see how she's finding things there, but time will tell. But that's pretty much it. I appreciate you watching. I'm thankful for all the support as always. If you want to leave a comment, some more feedback, compare it with the first episode if you've seen both, that would be amazing. If not, some kind of sweet interaction is always muchly appreciated, just to let me know that I'm on the right lines here. Either way, that is indeed it. I hope if you celebrate that you have or have had a good Christmas, depending on when you're watching. But for this episode, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.